if I remember correctly. I know I've seen that before.
That matchup really honestly boiled down to the Velen's Chosens and that Death Lord. It just got so much value at the end of the game. The dog didn't have an opportunity to take the board back. And despite the fact that he landed the Golden Monkey so early, he didn't really have utility in his legendaries. He just had raw power. And the lack of that utility meant the Death Lord just, a 6/14 that can be healed for 4 a turn is going to do a lot of work. And that kept VLPS ahead that entire game. And that's part of what makes the Control Warrior versus Priest matchup so very difficult, is that they get the liberty of playing their Golden Monkey afterwards. They get to continue to use all their spells effectively to kind of figure out what their game plan needs to be, and then just wait. And the longer they wait, eventually that fatigue damage adds up to so much that you can't fight through it anymore.
Yeah. That Death Lord killed 10 Anubaroks and 9 Nerubians. And it's funny because Anubarok was a boss at the end of a heroic dungeon in Wrath of the Lich King. And it's sort of funny that players used to farm that dungeon a lot for whatever type of currency that World of Warcraft used to use back then for heroic dungeons. So that Death Lord really wanted to save up his seals to buy a piece of epic loot.
Man, we're going way roleplay on this one.
Way back. Good job, Death Lord. You didn't even need the rest of your 4 party. You were the tank and the healer.
Combo Reno Warlock versus Golden Monkey Control Warrior for Dog. This is a matchup that I know that players go back and forth on. A lot of the Control Warrior players will tell you they're very favored, but then a lot of the Reno players tell you, no, this matchup's easy. I beat them every time. It's not a big deal. TJ, if you had to choose a bet for your life, who are you taking in this one?
It's really tough because I don't even know, man. I feel like this matchup's like one of the closest matchups that we have in the current iteration of Hearthstone. That's closest to 50-50 as far as win rates go. It's even in competitive. You look back at the Winter Championships, this matchup was played probably 10 times, and I believe it was 50% win rate for both sides. I like the Control Warrior just because I'm a Control Warrior player. And I feel like you have enough removal to get through, especially if you have Justicar Trueheart earlier. Against the combo Reno, you can effectively make them have 4 dead cards in their hand for most of the game. And for the Reno Jackson doesn't matter sometimes because eventually you're going to get Elise, and eventually you're going to get Legendaries. This is another one of those matchups where the quality of Legendaries you get from Elise can have a big impact on the outcome of the game.
Oh, Deathbite, a very welcome pickup for Dog at this point. You saw that roll for 2 on Implosion on the Acolyte. That gave Dog an extra draw. It let him clear an extra minion. And he kind of just rolled his eyes when it happened. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But that's the risk of running a powerful card like Implosion is. It does have a built-in failure rate sometimes. And that's allowed Dog, I think, to actually get what I would consider a little bit of a favorable footing. Bloodsail Corsair out of the Dark Peddler, though. Feels good, man.
Next level. But yeah, one of the ways that Warlock can win this matchup is just by pressuring. They do have a lot of mid-range stuff. They have Imgang bosses. They have Defender Vargas. They have Lotheb. They have Emperor Thorsan. Those are a lot of really strong-bodied minions that have powerful effects that need to be removed. And if not removed, especially Emperor Thorsan, will start getting lots of overall value. Alex Straza pulled. I can't tell if that's good or not. It's good because Dog doesn't really have a good way to remove it.
Well, it's good some percentage of the time. We'll let the Brawl figure out what percentage that's going to be. But 25% of the time, it's going to be massive. And it misses. Bloodsail Corsair is too strong.
Too strong, yeah. Getting rid of a Deathbite and surviving the Brawl.
And Alex Shaw's kind of a key card to lose in this matchup, too. I played against VLPS a lot on ladder. And when he plays this deck, kind of what you just mentioned, he plays it a lot like a mid-range deck where he just continues to pressure turn after turn and keep you on that back foot to open up windows of opportunity for his combo earlier than he normally would. So Dog right here, fantastic turn from him, being able to Justicar, tank up, and shield slam the Emperor. That takes away one of the major threats in this one. VLPS actually didn't get the reduction on his Leroy Jenkins or on an abusive sergeant. So his damage is a little bit more limited because of that in the long term. So he's got his work cut out for him. I mean, the fact that Alex Strauss is gone too, that's about, that can be anywhere from 10 to 15 points of damage that he doesn't have access to this game.
Yeah. And for the this is gonna be tough for Dog to find a way. He's gonna have to use Grom in order to remove this, but this is pretty vulnerable. And now he doesn't have a finisher pre-Elise to work with.
VLPS could pick up a big game hunter here. Not quite. Ooh. He does have the option of Faceless Manipulator this Grom this turn, though, and it looks like he's going to go for it. Yeah, if I don't blame him at all, that's 10 damage. Oh, yeah. Pyroblast.
And he's got Leroy Jenkins' Power Overwhelming Hellfire, which is 13 points of burst. And that's given that none of his boards survive. So pushing that damage could end up being a big deal. And VLPS just goes ahead and throws out the heal bot just as an extra body on the board to maybe get in for some damage next turn.
Yeah, Dog going to clean this up very nicely, though. Execute on the Grom. He's got the attack into the Lotheb. He's got the bash for the anti-heal bot. Armor up, or tank up, excuse me, and Elise. This one might have just been sealed, I think, for Dog. If he could manage to take care of the next couple of threats that VLPS poses, it's going to be very difficult for him to win this game.
Yeah, and now VLPS has gotten rid of a piece of that combo, so his maximum damage, especially without Alexstrasza, without Faceless Manipulator, is just cut significantly. So VLPS is going to have to rely on now sort of this hodgepodge, this mismatch of creatures that he has in his deck that
this motley crew of minions.
This motley crew of minions, exactly. That's a great way to put it. That he has left in his deck, like a Mind Control tick and an Acidic Swamp. We just have to fight against whatever's going to come out of that Golden Monkey, which is I don't know if that's going to be able to win VLPS the game. He still has some value from the Emperor. He still has his Reno Jackson left to bring him back up, and he's just going to use it as a 4/6 basically, and that's going to heal him for 5.
10, 13 out of hand, plus 7 on board. He's got 24 damage available to him. Second Shield Slam is going to really put Dog out of reach of this one, though. He's kind of reluctant to use it almost when you see this. He's like, should I even use it this turn? When your opponent plays a 4/6 for tempo, and they just Acidic Swamp Ooze obviously searching for tempo as well, too, this kind of plays VLPS's hand face up in this spot. Like, he looks at it and he knows that this is the turn he has to make something happen. Twisting Nether comes out to deal with his board position, so Dog's getting initiative here. But the big story is that VLPS is so far down in damage potential at this point. This isn't the typical Reno build, where sometimes you find Fugan and Stalag, where Jiraxis is going to be in here to get those 6/6s turn after turn. He's relying on the Leroy burst to end this game, and Dog is at 34 after all this.
Yeah, but the one thing is Dr. Boom off the top, and Dog needs some good stuff now. He's got ways to deal with the board as it is, but he still needs some good stuff because he's using a lot of resources to just try and hold on to the board. And he's still got that monkey in his deck, but he doesn't have too many ways to cycle outside of like a shield block. Whereas VLPS is drawing 2 cards a turn. Even though he's getting closer to fatigue, does he have any strong stuff left in his deck? Is the question. And
wow, I mean, look at this Leroy Mortal Coil to try to get some repetitive damage out of this Leroy. This is actually a really keen play here from VLPS. The fact that Dog's only got 1 card left, this is the kind of board that VLPS might be able to get multiple shots out of this Leroy, and it looks like it's going to be Brawl first. I mean, if this brawl is successful, I think you do.
Okay.
I mean, you're potentially killing 10 damage here with this Brawl.
But if it's all right, that's the middle outcome of it, I think, because Leroy would have been able to contest the Golden Monkey. So now Dog is almost always going to have a high impact draw every turn, and VLPS is basically out of stuff. Like I said, that Mind Control tech, I don't know how well that's going to fight up against legendaries from the Golden Monkey. Maybe he'll do well against Nat Pagel.
Lore Walker Cho.
Him in one shot, yeah.
He needs a pretty good one here. He's considering silencing this monkey here too, just to start pushing some damage. But if this is really going to come down to Dog's first draw here. If his first draw is very strong, I'm not sure VLPS can actually win this game.
Yeah. He's actually going to Power Overwhelming and Shadow Flame just to remove the Golden Monkey off the board. He's pretty much all in on this Twilight Drake. Which...
He's not really making much progress either. I mean, the tank up is just healing him for 4 every turn. Trogzor! Yes. It's better than Dr. Boom. We called it. Years ago when GVG came out, I said it myself. Trogzor is better than Dr. Boom. Don't expect Dr. Boom to get played. And look at that. VLPS has to trade into the Trogzor. Boom.
All right, well, VLPS has, this is everything. This is all that he has left. And it
Hey!
That is going to do it. Once again, Dog plays minions so fast that they pop up on the right side of the screen. And that means that Dog is going to take the series. A lot of fun games in that one. It's not often that you get to see Golden Monkey matches like 3 times in a single series.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff there from Dog, too. Just playing so aggressively to attack the board states. Just a couple of times that he forced VLPS to do something that was a little bit off balance that's like the mark of a very good professional, is someone who understands that matchup potential and knows to seize those little windows of opportunity. And I think VLPS did a wonderful job of fighting back, but in the end, the matchup, the fact that Justicar was found early enough for Dog allowed him to get so much extra life that he didn't have an opportunity to push through in that one, but made the most of his tools. When he went for the Leroy Mortal Coil, when he had the Twilight Drake on board, when he even pressured super hard to kill the Gold Monkey and hope that Dog drew a couple of dead legendaries in a row, he also is taking every single opportunity he can to try to pull back into the game. But at the end of the day, just too many strong legendaries.
Indeed. So that's going to be Dog moving on to the grand finals of feature tournament number 2. And VLPS will go home with a 3rd, 4th place finish. $750 still and 10 Geico points. So if he continues to do well, or if he does well in the opens, then he could still secure himself a spot in PAX Prime finals at the end of the year. But we do have a semifinal left as well as a finals left. So lots of action still to come. Make sure, guys, during the break, you head over to geico.onog.gg. Sign up to win. That's Cyber Power PC, and also enter into the Open tournament, which is going to happen on April 30th. So in just 2 weeks, if you want your chance to compete. But next semifinal up is going to be Zalay versus Lead Paint. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.